Imagine starting with nothing. No kingdom. No throne. No army. Just a small tribe of nomads wandering the edges of a dying empire. Now imagine that within 200 years, your descendants would rule over 3 continents, control the world's most powerful trade routes, and build one of the greatest empires in human history. This is not a fairy tale. This is the story of the Ottomans. And it starts with one man, in the middle of nowhere, with almost nothing to his name. To understand how the Ottoman Empire was born, you need to understand the chaos that created it. It's the late 1200s. The once mighty Byzantine Empire, the eastern successor of Rome, is crumbling. Its territories are shrinking. Its rulers are weak. Its borders are basically open invitations. Meanwhile, from the east, the Mongols have absolutely devastated the Islamic world. They burned Baghdad in 1258. They destroyed the Abbasid Caliphate, the center of the Muslim world, for 500 years, in a matter of days. Millions were killed. Entire cities were wiped off the map. Hundreds of thousands of refugees began moving westward into Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. Among those refugees were Turkic tribes. Nomadic warriors. Skilled fighters. People with nothing left to lose. One of those tribes was led by a man named Ertugrul. And Ertugrul had a son. His name was Osman. Osman Bey was born around 1258, the same year the Mongols destroyed Baghdad. Almost like history was making room for something new. His tribe, the Kayi, controlled a tiny piece of land on the western edge of Anatolia, right on the border of Byzantine territory. They weren't powerful. They weren't wealthy. By every measure, they were a minor tribe among dozens of other Turkic tribes in the region. But Osman had something the others didn't. Vision. He wasn't just thinking about survival. He was thinking about expansion. He started raiding Byzantine border towns, not randomly, but strategically. He built alliances with neighboring tribes. He married into influential families. He welcomed anyone who would fight under his banner: Turks, Greeks, Christians, Muslims. He didn't care about your background. He cared about your loyalty. By 1299, Osman declared independence from the Seljuk Sultanate, the regional power that had technically been his overlord. That declaration is considered the founding moment of the Ottoman state. One small tribe. One bold declaration. The clock starts now. Osman spent the rest of his life doing one thing: expanding. Town by town. Fort by fort. He captured Bursa in 1326, just before his death, and made it the first true Ottoman capital. When Osman died, he didn't leave behind a collapsed tribe. He left behind a growing state with momentum, military discipline, and a reputation that made his neighbors nervous. His son Orhan took over, and he hit the accelerator. Orhan didn't just raid. He built. He created one of the first standing armies in the region. The Janissaries would come later, but Orhan laid the groundwork. He organized the government. He minted coins. He built mosques and schools. He turned a raiding tribe into a functioning state. And then he crossed something that changed everything: the Bosphorus Strait. He crossed into Europe. In 1352, the Ottomans crossed into Thrace, southeastern Europe, for the first time. This was not a small moment. This was the beginning of Ottoman Europe. They captured Gallipoli in 1354. Then Adrianople, which they renamed Edirne, fell in 1369. They moved their capital there. Think about what that means. The Ottoman capital was now in Europe. They weren't a Middle Eastern power looking at Europe from a distance. They were inside Europe, expanding from within. The Byzantine Empire, already weakened, was now surrounded on almost all sides. Constantinople, the crown jewel of the Christian world, was now an island in a sea of Ottoman territory. European powers began to panic. Christian kingdoms started forming alliances to push the Ottomans back. It didn't work. In 1389, a coalition of European Christian forces, Serbs, Bosnians, Bulgarians, and others assembled one of the largest armies they could gather. They were going to stop the Ottomans here. At Kosovo. The Ottoman Sultan at the time was Murad I, a brilliant military commander who had expanded the empire further than anyone thought possible. The two armies met on the field of Blackbirds. The battle was brutal. Murad himself was assassinated during or just after the fight, stabbed by a Serbian nobleman who pretended to defect. But here is the thing. Even with their sultan dead on the battlefield, the Ottomans won. Murad's son Bayezid took command immediately, finished the battle, and secured the victory. Europe had thrown its best at the Ottomans. And lost. After Kosovo, Ottoman control over the Balkans was effectively sealed. Bayezid I was nicknamed the Thunderbolt. He moved fast, struck hard, and by the late 1390s he was besieging Constantinople itself. He almost took it. But then something came from the east that nobody was ready for. Timur. Also known as Tamerlane. One of the most feared conquerors in human history, leading a revived Mongol-style empire out of Central Asia. Timur and Bayezid exchanged increasingly hostile letters, basically two of the most powerful men on earth talking trash to each other through messengers. In 1402, they finally met at the Battle of Ankara. It was a disaster for the Ottomans. Bayezid was captured. He died in captivity shortly after, the first and only Ottoman sultan ever captured by an enemy. The empire fell into civil war. Sons fighting sons. The whole thing nearly collapsed. For about a decade, it looked like the Ottoman story might be over. But it wasn't over. After years of internal war between Bayezid's sons, one of them, Mehmed I, reunited the empire by 1413. He is known as Mehmed the Restorer. He spent his reign quietly rebuilding what the civil war had destroyed. Then his son Murad II continued the recovery, strengthening the military, reconsolidating territory in Europe, and setting up the empire for what was coming next. The Ottomans had survived their worst crisis. And now they were hungry. In 1451, a 19-year-old named Mehmed II became sultan. People underestimated him. They thought he was young, inexperienced, controllable. They were catastrophically wrong. Mehmed had one obsession since childhood: Constantinople. The city that had resisted every siege for over 1,000 years. The city surrounded by the most advanced defensive walls ever built. The city that symbolized the entire Christian Roman world. Mehmed spent 2 years preparing. He built a fortress on the Bosphorus to cut off Constantinople's supply lines. He commissioned a Hungarian engineer to build the largest cannons the world had ever seen, cannons so massive they had to be transported in pieces and assembled on site. He assembled an army estimated between 80,000 and 100,000 men. The Byzantine defenders inside the walls numbered around 7,000. On April 6, 1453, the siege began. The great cannons opened fire on walls that had never fallen. For 53 days, Constantinople held. Then on May 29, 1453, the walls finally broke. Mehmed's forces poured through. The Byzantine Emperor Constantine XI died fighting in the streets. The city fell. A 1,000-year-old empire ended in a single morning. Mehmed walked into the Hagia Sophia, the greatest church in the Christian world, and converted it into a mosque. He was 21 years old. History would call him Mehmed the Conqueror. And the Ottoman Empire had just announced itself to the entire world. After Constantinople, the empire didn't stop. It kept growing under Mehmed and the sultans who followed into the Middle East, North Africa, deeper into Europe. At its peak, the Ottoman Empire controlled 5.2 million square miles. It lasted for over 600 years, making it one of the longest-lasting empires in human history. It didn't start with wealth or power. It started with one small tribe on the edge of a dying empire, led by a man with a vision. From Osman's tiny camp in 1299 to Mehmed standing inside Constantinople in 1453, that is 154 years. 1.5 centuries to go from nothing to world power. That is the rise of the Ottoman Empire. If you made it this far, you already know more Ottoman history than most people alive today. If you want to see the full story, the golden age, the slow decline, and the dramatic fall, subscribe because that video is coming next. Drop a comment telling me which sultan you want covered first. See you in the next one.